Welcome everyone to episode 17 of Twitch Tales. What do you want to do? What is the plan, everyone? What have you thought about doing since the last time we met? From where we are, how far is Shadridge? It's about an hour's walk away. So from the town of Shadridge proper to Jack Creed's farm, it's about an hour's walk. And I actually have a map that I can show you of said farm. You want to see my cool map? Who wants to see my map? Here we go. Here is the map. Boom! That's right. Bait and switch. You thought it was going to be the crappy map that I drew, but no, I've made a better map with Incarnate. Here is the better map of the area. Let's zoom in and show you some of the pieces. So here on the edge of the forest is the town of Shadridge, and the edge of a little bit of a mountain range. About an hour's walk this direction is Jack Creed's farm and apiary, and a little bit of a walk from this direction is the other farm of Shadridge, known as the Colton's farm. Into the how do I grab the page and move it? There we go, like this one maybe. Nope, that's gonna drag and no. I don't know Incarnate very well. How do I move? Is there a hand tool? Can I turn into a hand? Maybe if I just zoom out of Shadridge and zoom back into the area. So following up through the forest, there's a bit of a goblin camp here. This is Helwarin. This is Dolbin Ilawad over this one. Over here is Muinglofau, built into a mountain, a bit of a lonely mountain situation. And then up here was Arachel. And there you go. It's a very simple map, but it's got its things on it. And from we headed north from this goblin camp, and north of this map, off the edge of this map, would be the Great Expanse. There you go. So I can work on this. There's more I can do on the map. There's plenty more I can do on this map. But it'll do as a simple map until such a time as I commission Ajo to make me a proper map. You missed the old map. Well, the old map is still around. Look, there it is. that's the old map, which is just as good, as you can see. It's clearly just as good. This this map is clearly. Let me have a look. Where's my Twitch Tales? Twitch Tales. Oh, woo-hoo. If I zoom. Oops. No. Zoom. Zoom. There you go. Shadridge on the outskirts. Jack Creed's farm there. Goblin camp. Mountain with the 4 villages. It's exactly the same map. I don't see any difference between the two maps. Rob has been busy perfecting the map. I hardly say perfecting. It's very dense wood, yeah. Dense forest. Literally uncharted territory. Yep. So what do you want to do, guys? You're at Jack Creed's farm. We did say at the end of the last session that you were going to be heading towards Shadridge, but that's really up to you to decide now as Apis. You have the morning. In the morning, Mel succeeded on her medicine check with your help. Only just because I was nice. There be dragons. Still heading towards Shadridge. Ask for if there's a bounty. Ask about Toria. If we wanted to, we could use our primeval awareness to see if there's anything dragony or something in Shadridge, right? Yes, that is correct. So primeval awareness, how that works is you spend a spell slot to. Let me just. Sorry, everything's just in the way. I'll just have to move these dragons out of the way so that I can get to my books. Oops, I just have to accidentally put these Draco Liches on stream. Oops, I didn't mean to show them off. Didn't mean to show off my Draco Lich. Rangers Guild territory. Not Divine Sense, that's Paladins. Rangers. Primeval Awareness. Beginning at 3rd level, you can use your action and expend a ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell you expend, you can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within a mile of you. Or I allow it to be like within up to a mile of you. You can choose the radius that you're interested in knowing. Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiend, and undead. So you can say, I'm going to focus on dragons. Or I'm going to focus on dragons and fae. And then you can set and I'll say a radius of 500 feet. And then you expend a spell slot and you focus on your surroundings, and I tell you whether there's any dragons or fae within 500 feet. What's this bounty I keep hearing about? There was a potential talk of a bounty on the goblins right before we left Shadridge 10 days ago. And we have 5 goblin ears. So if there is a bounty, then we might be able to claim it. I don't know if we want to spend the spell slot this early in the day, but it would maybe give us a heads up on anything going on in Shadridge before walking into the town. What about undead dragons? You could say that, given that these are undead dragons. Did I show off these undead dragons yet? I don't know if I did. This awesome adult blue Dracolich that WizKids sent me for free, because I'm just an awesome, influential dungeon master dude, and so people send me awesome stuff for free. Did I show that off? I don't know if I did yet. Did I mention yet that I got 2 Dracoliches, a green and a blue, and that I can show off these awesome green dragon liches? Don't know if I showed that off yet. Let's look into the bounty. I don't think spending a spell slot to check if there's something in Shadridge, unless we already know there's something about what's going on there. That's fair enough. All right, so let's head off to Shadridge then. Are we taking Mel with us, or are we letting her rest? She's got 2 more days of rest before she's back to normal. She has been downgraded from the serious injury to the minor injury category. But she still does have a minor lingering injury that won't recuperate unless she spends some time resting. So are we gonna leave Mel behind to have another day of rest while we explore Shadridge, or are we gonna ask her to come along? Pence says let her rest. Would Apis have any reason to suspect Shadridge is at risk? Nothing strikes them right now as anything suspicious. There wasn't. You can kind of see Shadridge on the horizon a little, and from where you are, and there's nothing suspicious looking about it. She can catch up with all the other bees, that's right. Mel sends us our way on our own because of our awful panpipes playing, yeah. Two times in a row we got terrible panpipe music on our panpipe check. So Mel wants some time away from us, maybe. Sparrow also says, let her rest. We are an unofficial town's guard. We certainly told the knights that we were a town guard. We told the Knights of Kivosna, which are the actual town guards, we told them that we were an undercover Knight of Kivosna and that we outranked them. And that we were in the area just on happenstance, passing through, when we discovered this murder, and so we were investigating it. So that's a good thing to keep in mind as well as we head into Shadridge. It'll be good to remember that we did actually lie to the equivalent of the police here. Melby can get herself a ration of fresh honey for the road, milk and honey, in a small silver elven mug with a lid. This one here. I don't think Apis would risk anything happening to Mel while Mel's still recovering. Alright, so lots of people saying that we should leave Mel behind. So Apis says good day to her, greets her and tells her what the plan is, and then says that they're going to be going to Shadridge and she should stay here and rest, and she agrees. Thank you, Apis. I will stay and rest. I'm feeling much better this morning. Much better. But I still think I feel like I need a day or two of resting. And so we can actually use the last salve on her. We've got one more salve, which would take her down from needing 2 days of rest to 1 day of rest. That is an option that we should decide actually before we set off for Shadridge. We've got one more usage of this salve. The salve is only good for anyone who's just joining us. The salve is useful only for reducing a lingering injury, reducing the number of days you need to recover from a lingering injury. She currently needs 2 days of successfully resting. If you use the salve, that'll go down to 1 day, and then by this time tomorrow, she might, if she succeeds on the medicine check, she might be back to completely normal. Otherwise, she'll need at least 48 hours from now. Ask her if she wants it. Asmiel suggests that we would give her the rest of the salve. She said she's feeling much better, indicating that she's gone down from the serious to the minor injury category. But she has still got a lingering injury. I'm going to roll to see whether she wants it or not. When you ask her, do you want another use of this salve? I don't think she fully understands. She's not super smart. She's got a really low intelligence. She's got an okay wisdom, but a low intelligence. So she doesn't fully understand that these things cost money and they're not infinite. So she's not as worried about you running out of it. Yeah. She says yes. She says yes. She would like it. Ask Mel, maybe keep it for ourselves in case we get a lingering injury. Yeah. She's low. She's got a negative modifier for her intelligence and her charisma, so she didn't really know the social expectation of being like no, being modest and polite about, oh no, don't worry about me. She doesn't know all that sort of stuff, so she was just like, yeah, it made me feel better, and you offering me it, so yeah, I'll have it. What if we waited till tonight to see how she's going? She won't have, like, mechanically speaking, Sparrow, she won't have changed between, now and tonight, unless, she's attacked and gotten actually worse. I think Apis has too big a heart to leave their animal companion injured when they could help. Yeah. Alright. So do we need to explain economics to this bee? It might take a while, Dapperbore. It's definitely something you could do with your downtime if that's an option you wanted to explore. Alright, so lovely but stupid. It's like asking a dog if he wants the cookie later. Yeah, that's basically it. It's like, yeah, you're reminded at times like this that Mel is still an animal at heart. She is an animal, and she has the brain of an animal, just a very intelligent animal. But if you ask her if she wants something, if she's not feeling the best, and you ask her if she wants something to make her feel better, she's going to say yes. She's not going to take in all these other things into account. And so you give her the salve. Most people are saying yes to that. And so I will remove salve from our list. We no longer have any salve. We've used it all up. If this wants to move, please. Thank you. But it does take her down to needing only 1 day of rest. So she feels much better. She feels almost fully recovered, back to her usual self, almost. And if she's successful on a medicine check this time tomorrow, she'll be good as new, back to normal and ready to adventure. Let's do that. Rob, explain economics to the bee. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's at length, without any skipping, make Robert improvise an economics lecture, as if he is a non-binary hill dwarf ranger in a fantasy world talking to a giant bee. Okay, I can do that. So let's start with supply and demand. At least she doesn't go around asking people about their trauma. Yeah, so maybe her charisma is actually better than some people's. Give her a scratch behind the ear. Yeah, unfortunately she's a bee. She doesn't have ears, but you can scratch her behind the antenna. Reminder, we need to look for a book or a person who can teach us how to brew potions and salves. Yes, that's a good thing to keep in mind. That's something we can look for. Yeah, let's teach her about mortgages and home loans and how they relate to the cost of money. If only I knew. A scratch behind the wing joint. All right, so Apis spends the morning helping Mel a little bit. Thankfully, Mel can feed herself with the nearby flower fields and the honey that her army of bees create for her, and so she doesn't need us to cook for her, which is always a plus with the what's the word I'm looking for? It's always a bonus with the track record that Apis has with cooking and playing the panpipes. And instead we bid her adieu and we head off towards Shadridge. It takes about an hour to get there, and with the time that we have spent with applying the salve and eating breakfast and things, it's probably just before noon. It's probably about 11 a.m. or just the equivalent of when we start to arrive towards Shadridge. So Shadridge, we've been there a few times, but in-game we've not been there for many days, and in real life we've not been there for many weeks, months even. And so just to remind anybody who's joined us since then, Shadridge is a very small town, very small frontier kind of town. It's got like one of the most important amenities, and is lacking in the more luxurious items and amenities. So you've got like a single baker, you've got a general store, you've got a single tavern/inn. You've got 2 farms, one of which specializes more in mead, and one of which is everything else. There's a lumberjack, there is a carpenter, there is a weaver, there's a miller, and that's pretty much it. Obviously, there's a few other things. It's the sort of hamlet kind of town that more of a hamlet or a village than a town. And it is, I'd say maybe about population 100 thereabouts, just to give you some idea of how big it is. So as we arrive at this town that is built on sort of the foothills of a mountain range, it's kind of built up onto the top of a bit of a ridge that overlooks some of the mountain range towards the southeast, and that's actually where it gets its name from. It was founded on sort of the shady ridge. That's a ridge of mountain that is overlooked by much larger mountains and is therefore shaded at certain parts of the day. So we're going to Shadridge, and where are we going from here? We've got lots of people to talk to, lots of things to do. We want to try and find Toria, right? We want to try and find the guards. We want to try and find the mayor. Obviously, we know where the mayor is. The mayor would be in the equivalent of the town hall in the center of the tiny village. It doubles as both the mayor's abode and the meeting hall for any town business. So we could go to the mayor, knowing where he would be. We could go to there's a very small barracks on the southern edge of town, where the Knights of Kvosna would be. We could just wander the streets asking if anybody's seen Toria in a town of this small size. People would know where she was, if anywhere. We could go to the tavern and meet Gretchen, which is the Uruk, the half-orc, half-human that runs the tavern. Time to shop for armor after grabbing the bounty. Yep, we could do Sai, but you would know that armor costs a lot of money and is more than we currently have on us. Armor that's like we could possibly, with what we've got on us and the bounty, if there is a bounty, we don't know that for sure. But if there is a bounty and what we've got on us, then we could potentially buy leather armor, but we've already got leather armor. In order to buy an upgraded armor, we would need more money. We would have probably needed to bring all of the money that we had in our stash. Do they get inspiration for using their last salve on helping an animal, or do they still have inspiration? That is a good question. Let's pop over to the battle map here. Yes, inspiration is still there, and actually, come to think of it, it's a new day. You should have your lucky horseshoe back. Bing! There we go. We could go to the bakery and talk to our friend Franklin, catch up with him. Asmiel wants to go to the baker, ask about Toria with him. Hamlet, as in, shakes his spear, the bad troll. Billy shakes his spear. He's not in this world, he's in the Azerim world. Franklin, couple people saying Franklin, ask at the tavern. Didn't the keeper of the tavern have something to tell us? Not from memory, S2 Saint. Do you remember what it would have been? She said that she wanted to just have a drink and a catch-up, but it didn't sound urgent to us, like she had information for us. Alright, I'm going to have to put this to a poll. What are the options going to be? Tavern, bakery, mayor's house, barracks, or wander the streets, maybe. Gretchen, not really a friend, Sparrow. She's an acquaintance, but Apis is slow to trust, and in that first episode where we were deciding on how many friends Apis has here, Franklin was the only one that Apis would consider a friend. She's friendly, but she's not really a friend. We don't know much about her. Do we need to finish saving the mead production? Yeah, we could work out whether people have been driven to sobriety by having to be forced to drink Gretchen's ale. Seeing someone we know well, Asmiel says, because we are slow to trust, so it would make sense to go to somebody we know well. Yeah, probably a good idea. Could we pay a smith to stud our armor? What armor do we have? We've just got leather, haven't we? So yeah, studded leather would be good. Yeah, if we went to the blacksmith, would this place have a blacksmith? Yeah, they would. They'd have a blacksmith who's also a farrier and also everything else, anything to do with metalworking. They'd probably just have the one. Yeah, if we went there, and that's probably a good idea. Gretchen would also be interested in where Toria is as the main buyer of the mead. Yeah. Check the notice board. Bakery, the apothecary is also an option. There is an apothecarist in town. Apothecary. How much would it cost to have a smith stud our existing armor? Studded leather is 45 gold pieces apparently, but leather is 10, so take 10 off of that. So I'd say 35. 35 is a bit much, because what would that be, like 7,000 gold? $7,000? Seems like a bit excessive. I would say less than that. 20 gold would be $4,000, or the equivalent of, I think that's about, it's a lot of work. That still seems quite a lot. You would probably be able to negotiate for somewhere between 10 and 20 gold for getting your armor studded. For getting your armor studded. D&D's economy is absolute garbage. It makes everything so difficult to, like, there's no consistency in how much things cost and how much a gold piece is actually worth. It's just such a big problem that I really want to homebrew my own sort of economic system about how much everything costs, but it's an enormous amount of work, because I would have to go through every table that has a gold piece price to it, and I'd have to decide for myself how much that thing actually works in a proper economic system. Yeah. How much would it cost? How much would it cost in real life? Like, what sort of work? It's hard to even put a real gold piece cost to it in real life, because studded leather isn't a thing that exists in real life. There's no, like, putting studs onto leather armor doesn't help the armor in any way. It doesn't exist. And so I can't even think, like, what it would cost to do so. I would say, let's think about this. A gold piece cost. How many days' work would it take? I feel like it would cost, like... I could then tell Mel my own economics model if I do that, yeah. I feel like I could I could make it somewhere around 10 gold without breaking the economy of anything. If we wanted to stud our leather armor, I'd make it about 10 gold, and it would take a few days for the blacksmith to do. But obviously, you can negotiate with that to a certain extent, depending on who the blacksmith is and whether they are keen on dwarves or not, things like that. Yeah, if they're buying the studs in or making the studs. Yeah, I suppose if they're making the studs, then it would be more, wouldn't it? Because they have a lot more work to do for it. I don't know. If you decide to go get studded leather armor, it can be future Robert's problem. In the meantime, let's start a poll and decide what we are doing, where we're going. Where to now? Question mark. Rather save up our gold and get a chain shirt for the extra dexterity modifier. Fair enough. We need new salve so we can discuss that topic more. There's no apothecary in town? There is an apothecary in town, yes. That can go under the other if you're interested in going to the apothecarist. Apothecarist. The herbalist. If you're interested in going to the herbalist, who is an elderly woman called Edith that we met last time we were in town.
She was in the bakery buying some bread. Oh, hello.
Yeah, we bumped into Edith last time. She is an elderly woman that deals with herbalism and apothecary stuff. There's an old dude who is a sheriff or a retired knight of Kvosna. He was the one that set up the makeshift barracks. I bet Edith knows how to brew potions and salves, just saying. Probably. She probably does. Apothecary is the name of the person, which I always hate. I've always hated that because it doesn't fit with the common naming technique of other English words. Like, if you are the person who runs a thing, you could either be the apotheker, like a baker, or you could be the apothecarist, like other professions. Apothecary sounds like the shop to me. Like, apothecary just sounds like it should be the name of the shop, the place you go. I'm going to the apothecary. Alright, with 68% of the vote, an overwhelming majority want to visit Franklin the Baker, followed by only 18% for Gretchen at the inn, and then only 11% for Jackson the Mayor, and nobody wanted to visit the Knights of Kvosna. So we are going to Franklin the Baker, and we're going to see how he's doing. Oh my god, I'm so behind, I have no idea who any of these people are. Bakery first, because we can run with the baked good theory, which is the practice of having a desirable snack while chatting to someone so that they get distracted by the snack and either agree with you unknowingly or tell you stuff that they shouldn't. Is that an actual theory, Spirit Goblin, or are you making stuff up? Alright, so with that decision made, we set off through town looking for Franklin the Baker. We know where he works, we know where the bakery is. What's our perception? Our perception's good. Our passive perception is a +4. So on the way, as we're walking, as soon as we step into the town proper and start to wander through the streets, one of the things that catches our eye is that there is a piece of paper posted on the outside of the bakery shop as we walk up to it. There's a piece of paper that says "Wanted" at the top. And it catches our eye and we have a look at it, and it says, after recent events at Jack Creed's farm, there is a bounty on the head of all goblins. To claim said bounty, bring one of the ears of the goblin to the town hall and speak to Jackson. And then down at the bottom it says bounty, 1 gold piece per ear. So we have 5 ears on us. We have 5 gold worth of goblin bounty to collect. But we're at the outside of the bakery, so we think we'll remember to do that before we leave Shadridge. And we head into the bakery. There is currently nobody in there, but the bakery door is open, wafting out some delicious baked goods into the street. It's approaching noon, so approaching the time when people might be breaking from their work to get some get some baked goods for lunch. We see Franklin, our human male middle-aged friend, young to middle-aged, I'd say, and he's currently got his back towards us. He's hunched over, bringing something out of a large oven. So we walk in and just stand there quietly for a second while we wait for him to turn. If we were smart, we could have cut off both ears of each goblin and said there were twice as many. This isn't that devious, though. Is anyone likely to mug us for our ears? Let's not let on that we have them till we can turn them in. Yeah, about so 5 gold pieces is about $1,000, so it's a decent chunk of money. 1,000 US, maybe 1,000 New Zealand, I think of it, because it makes things easier for me to think in my own currencies. It doesn't specify left or right on the poster, but usually they just require one particular ear for that reason, so that people can't double up the bounty. We have the right ears. I'm gonna actually maybe I'll roll. I'm gonna roll evens or odds to see which ear Jack has asked for on the bounty. He has asked for the right ear, thankfully. Luckily, we got 50-50 shot, but he has thankfully asked for the ears that we have. So we head in. Franklin turns around. Eventually, after putting this thing down, he feels somebody's presence there. He says, "Ah, Apis, you're back! Oh, thank goodness for that!" And takes off his oven mitts and throws them down. I thought we'd almost lost you. You'd been gone for a while. And comes through the little flapping door around to the other side of the counter and puts his arms out for a hug. He's one of the only people that we feel confident enough with this town to get that close with. But we walk up and give him a hug. He breaks away and says, "You look fine. You look well. You're keeping all right. Tell me, how was it? What happened with the goblins? How many did you encounter? And what do we talk about? What do we want to say to Franklin? You guys are controlling Apis, so you tell me what Apis tells Franklin." "Yep, we do trust Franklin. He's a friend." "Tell him all of it," Wraith says. "Take Franklin to the tavern for a drink and a full catch-up. It's the middle of the day. He's got work to do. He's hard at work as a baker and preparing for the lunchtime rush that's about to happen." We tell him all the gruesome details, and still he starts puking, binding to a tree, torturing. I don't think we talk about the gore, more of the overall events yet. Maybe that's a better idea. "We trust Franklin, but not anyone who can wander in. I would like to go somewhere private to tell him everything." Well, he's currently at work, so he's not going to leave to go anywhere private with you. "Tell him you've encountered some, but not the number." "Okay." "We left Mel to recover, gave her a last salve and told her to rest, then we went to Shadridge. I made some of that the wrong, because my pewter is lagging badly." "No, you got that right, Taufe. You got that right." So we asked, we told him, yeah, we encountered some goblins. Just a few, like we nothing we couldn't handle really. There was a camp nearby, but it's gone now. I'll tell you more when you're not busy, but I can. And he goes, yeah, I'll you talk while I work, eh? And then he walks back behind the counter. He says, "Can I get you anything, by the way? You hungry? You want anything? I've got some fresh baked bread that I've just been cutting and ready for making sandwiches. Can I get you a sandwich or something?" Does he have any cinnamon rolls? I'm not sure that he would have cinnamon rolls. Let's give it a percentile chance. He does not have cinnamon rolls. That's like as far away from it as it could have possibly been. Never turned down free food. Never said it was free, Adriel. Hot crust buns. Always nice to have fresh baked bread. Wet, spongy, tasteless British sandwich, please. Rude, Psyche. How rude. Try croissants. Has he got croissants? Alright, let's have a look. Does he know how to do croissants? Oh, it bounced. No, unfortunately, he doesn't know how to do croissants. It's sort of middle-aged UK kind of era that we're thinking of, and I don't think they knew how to do croissants or cinnamon rolls. He's got bread, different types of bread. We had some dried bread with him last time, yeah. Cream eggs. I don't think he knows how to do cream eggs, Spirit Goblin. I'm not sure that that's a bakery thing. Ask for a pie. Oh, yeah, he definitely has pies. Honey tarts. He might have honey tarts. Let me see. He does have some honey tarts. So you can get a honey tart if you want. He would have rye bread. He would have pie, steak and cheese, an iced bun. He actually does have an iced bun. Yeah, he has iced buns. All right, yeah. Why not? He's got iced fingers, effectively, that are really nice. He's got like long, thin pieces of doughy sweet bread that he puts like, what would he use for icing sugar? What can you use in this sort of era, in this Middle Ages kind of time period, that you could use as like icing sugar? Honey, maybe, like crystallized honey. If you boil honey, maybe, and then you I don't know. Yeah, a few people are saying honey. He's definitely got access to honey, that's for sure. Ask him for fishlish. He's a long way away from the sea. There's definitely no fish here. Is there a specific reason we came to see him, or just catching up and eating? I don't know. I think we were telling him about what we'd been doing, and then we wanted to ask about Toria. Ask about news in town and things, yeah. Apple juice. Oh, yeah. Some, like, condensed apple juice. Honey, cream, or butter. Yeah. Some, like, whipped butter mixed with honey. That's what he's done. He's got some honey, and he's got some whipped butter, and it's spread on top of, like, a sweet dough roll. So do we want one of them? Two of them was smart thinking, Spirit Goblin. Buy two of the most exotic items he has. One to eat in front of the mayor, and the spare to use as a bargaining chip. This part of Apis wants to ask him about what was going on in the town, and if he heard something of Toria, as he's the person we're most comfortable with. Yeah, we'll do that. Just went to see our friend because he's our friend, yeah. So for that honeyed, buttery, sweet, iced finger type thing, he is charging. I'm trying to remember what would that be in Greg's. He's charging like 2 coppers. Nah, it's pretty. It's put a lot of work into it to get to like whip the butter and stuff. 3 coppers. He's charging 3 coppers each for those iced things. 67 pence. Yeah. Now, what would it be if Greg's had to create all of their ingredients themselves in a small town and grow them and whip them and everything? Probably a little more. Honey. So we're eating Mel's vomit, yes. Apfelstrudel. Dwarven delicacy. So he definitely he charges us 6 copper. We'll do that. We'll take off one of these silvers. Boom. Silver amount. We've got 9 silver and increase our copper by 4. There we go. Get some change. So we take 2 of those iced fingers, one to eat in front of the mayor and one to offer the mayor as a bargaining chip if we need to bargain with the mayor about anything. At the suggestion of a certain part of Apis' mind. And then he bricks some bread with you. Just he gets one of his more recent loaves that has come out, one of the smaller buns, smaller loaves, about one of these sort of half loaf size, and he just breaks it and hands you it for free, just to have something to eat with you while you chat. So he talks. He talks with you. You ask him about. You tell him about all the goblins. You just don't give like numbers. You don't give him specifics, and you don't talk about the gore of like seeing goblins torn apart by their own wolves and things like that. You mentioned the elves, presumably. Stop me if you'd think that Apis wouldn't talk about any of this stuff, but Franklin is considered a friend. You trust him. You tell him about the elves, the villagers, the different types of elves that there are, the fact that you encountered some racism from the Arachelians. You tell him about Mwinglofau and the fact that there was a blacksmith there that you got talking to, who gave you a nice hunting knife, and you upgraded your sword look, and you take off your sword in its sheath and show it off, withdraw it from the sheath and show off the sword. Oh, it's a really nice long sword. You show off your hunting knife. Check this out. It's cool stuff. And he continues to work. He's chopping things up. He's starting to put sandwiches together for the lunchtime rush. As you talk, the first lady in is, well, the first person in. Let's have a look at the NPCs. Who would be first in? Probably Lucille. Lucille from the general store. Human woman, middle-aged towards elderly, but more middle-aged. She comes in and she's pleasant enough, but she's not very talkative. She doesn't really like small talk. You've discovered over the time in Shadridge. So she greets you and, oh, Apis, you're here. It's good to see you again. There was rumors around town that you might have been in some trouble, but I'm glad to see you're okay. I'm all fine. It's the goblins that are in trouble, that's for sure. Oh, is that right? Are we safe from them now? Then you've dealt with it, have you? Well, what do you guys think? If you're asked, are you safe from the goblins now? What would you say? As far as you know, all of the goblins that you met or dealt with have been killed or otherwise. But you do know that one of them that you tied to a tree was saved by something else that was wearing armoured footwear. Maybe not saved, maybe captured. You just know that they were taken by someone in armoured footwear and headed north, which is the opposite direction from us. So, what do you guys think? Would you say yes or no? We would tell her the ones that we encountered are no longer here. Yeah, that makes sense. Epi says, yes, pretty much. Well, I can't say 100% for certain, but the ones that we've encountered are not a threat anymore, that's for sure. And she sort of half smiles and says, well, that's good to know. Just my usual, please, Franklin. He says, no worries, Lucille. How's it going over in the shop today? You okay? And she goes, yes, it's quiet, but the normal. And he goes, how's the buck? She says, oh, it's getting quite exciting. Yes, the man has finally proposed, and she actually turned him down. Oh, really? Wait, am I giving Franklin a Scottish voice there, out of habit? Oh, really? Oh, you said that it was a sure thing. Yes, I thought it was. It's quite surprising. And he finishes putting a sandwich together. That's what would it be for a sandwich? Probably about 3 copper. That's 3 copper, please. And she hands it over. Thank you very much. I'll maybe see you around the shop later, Apis. I've got some stock in the last couple of days, so I should have most things that you would need. You say, oh, maybe so, Lucille. If I need anything, I know where to find you. And she says thanks and disappears out the door. We're never completely safe from goblins. We simply evolve when we die. Some reach the lofty height of spiritual, and other reincarnate as trolls. Is that where I came from? Goblins are not a threat anymore. Don't think we'll be seeing them. She leaves. We continue talking to Franklin till eventually we've sort of caught him up on what we were doing, and we find the opportunity in the conversation to ask. So the young lady who was taken over from Jack Creed's farm, Toria, and he says, "Oh yes. She didn't feel safe staying in Jack Creed's farm anymore." we were expecting you back within a couple of days. If the goblins had attacked Jack Creed's, we assumed that they must be close by, and so it wouldn't have taken more than a day to get there and a day to deal with them and then a day to get back again. So we were expecting you back within 3 days at most, and you've been gone about a week and a half. So she decided she wasn't feeling very safe. And the Coltons took her on board as a farmhand for the time being, until we got word of what to do with it. If you ask me, though, she's feeling rather restless here, and she's finding it hard to adjust to small frontier town life when she was from a big city. But the Coltons are nice. I think she's enjoying her time there, at least. They're pleasant company. And they're putting her to work. She's really enjoying having hard... Well, I don't know if she's enjoying it, but she seems to be... They say that she seems to be enjoying working hard on the farm, and it'll certainly train her for the sort of thing she would be in for if she actually took on Jack Creed's farm herself anyway. So yes, apparently she's staying with the Coltons on their farm for now. She just didn't feel safe living alone on Jack Creed's farm on the edge of the forest when we hadn't heard back. So we talk about her and the situation a little bit more, and then eventually we move the conversation on to say, so anyway, enough about me, and how's things going with you and was it Sally? And he says, yes, Sally. Things are going well. We're still dating. She's lovely. She's really sweet. She's quite shy, but we should introduce you. She's actually the weaver. You have little need for new clothes, I see. But you should pop in and say hello anyway. She should be working today. Maybe I'll come with you. If you go in the afternoon after the lunch rush, and as he says this, another person walks in. It would probably be, let's say, it's a fellow you know to be the blacksmith, a human male, pretty stocky build, relatively short for a human. He's missing one eye, got a bit of a scar down his cheek, and quite short cropped hair. He's the blacksmith, and he also does fletching and things like that. And he's you can't remember his name, but as soon as he enters, Franklin says, Carl, just in time. What can I get you today? And he says, what can I get? What did I have yesterday? He says, you had ham yesterday. He goes, ham. All right. I feel like I had cheese the day before, didn't I? Yes, you did. What can I get? He goes, I did get a pheasant yesterday. I can put you some pheasant between some bread and pheasant meat. All right, yeah, why not? Give us a pheasant sandwich, eh? He says, yeah, why not? And he turns around, starts to slice, gets out a pheasant, slices off some, puts it between its two big thick slices of bread. Hands it over. That'll be 3 copper. There you are. Hey, you're the traveller fella, aren't you? The one that comes by and hey, Apis. Hey, well, I'm Carl. It's lovely to meet you, Carl. What do you doing in town? He says, I'm a blacksmith and fletcher and farrier. Just down the road there. Oh, is that right? I was considering coming by later. Maybe I was thinking of maybe potentially upgrading my armor, if that's something you do. And he goes, I don't have much in the way of armor, but I certainly commission jobs for the knights from time to time, so I know how to make it, but I don't have any in that's currently there. And he says, hey, that's that. I'll pop by and talk to you later if I have the time. He pops out with his sandwich, and we. What do we want to do? Is there anything else we want to ask Franklin about, talk to Franklin about? Is there anything I've missed, forgotten? A potion book from Sally? Sally's a weaver. I'm not sure she would have a potion book. You'd be better asking the apothecarist. Just snuck that missing eye detail in there. What about it? I can barely remember what I had for dinner last night. Franklin must have a great memory to remember what each of his customers bought. Well, that's one of the things that makes you a good, personable person for them to come back and get their lunch from. If you remember their regulars, their regular orders. But then other people don't have regular orders, and they ask Franklin where the knights are. All right, you do so. Whereabouts are the knights? And he says, "Oh, they're around, aren't they? Probably over at the barracks, if anywhere. But I don't know. Maybe patrolling a bit. There's a new. When did she arrive? You met Kathleen, right?" And you say, "I met Kathleen. That was the day before the funeral." Right. I think there was a new girl came since then. I don't know if she stuck around. I saw another girl talking to Kathleen on the way on the walk about town, but I didn't get her name. So I don't know if she's still here or not, but she should probably be over in the barracks, if anywhere. And you ask, anything else going on in town? He says, well, is there anything else going on in town? I'm not sure that there really is. And then he looks through the window and he says, "Oh, Edith's been feeling a little weak. I don't know if that's that's not really news, but..." And he points, and the reason he said so is that Edith now walks in, the apothecarist, the elderly human woman that we met briefly before. She walks in and...
Oh, Apis, you're here. Whoa, what a dear. We were so worried about you, love. Come here.
And she comes over for a hug. You don't feel quite as comfortable with Edith, but you know that she means well, so you accept the hug regardless. She says, "Oh, it's so good to see you, my love." And she kind of pats you. She's about your height, even though she's human. She's kind of all hunched, and she's had that sort of shrinking effect of old age. And she pats you on the shoulder.
"Oh, it's so good to see you, my love. Are you doing all right? So you did okay, did you?"
Put up with it. Relatable.
I am, thank you, Edith. I'm tip top shape.
We're just exploring the forest is all. We don't really go into detail about the situation that we've been dealing with for the last week or so.
Oh, well, it's lovely to see. I'm glad that you're alive. There was a few people saying that you were, in trouble, but they didn't have the knights to deal with it. Well, if you need anything, you just pop by my shop, And then she turns around to Franklin. "So, Franklin, dear, how are you doing?"
I'm okay, thank you, Edith. How are you today? Are you feeling any better?
"Oh, not really. Worse, if anything."
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What's the problem?
I'm just so tired all the time, to be honest.
Oh dear. Got any of your herbs that you could pep yourself up?
Oh, I've been trying my usual things that help me to pep myself up a bit, but they're just not working. I'm just tired, and I feel so weak. I wake up feeling like I'm drained of energy,
I'm sorry to hear that. Can I get you anything? What would you like today? And she says,
"Oh, I just something simple for me. Just a couple of half loaves, so that I can keep one and eat the other."
Right you are. Edith, are you sure I can't get you any ham for these or anything?
No. I'm nothing. Don't want any of that sort of thing. I can't really taste much these days anyway. So just whatever. I just have a bit of bread. It's fine.
Right you are. It might be worth having a bit of protein for you though, if it's your muscles that are feeling weak.
Oh, yes, but I'll eat enough at dinner time. I don't like to have a heavy lunch, or it makes me even tireder for the afternoon.
Right you are. And he puts the bread together and hands it over. Just 2 copper, please. And she hands it over.
Right, well, I'll see you around. It's good to see you, Apis.
And she comes over and pats you on the shoulder again.
If you need anything, just come on by the shop.
Tring. Heads on out. Can't really taste much. She got the COVID. Yeah. She's only eating carbs. No wonder she's tired. She's tired. She's feeling weak. She's got no taste. Oh no. She didn't seem to have a fever, no. Hey Joe, bloody plot hooks. This was meant to be a tying things up mission, not a bloody introducing more shit mission. Anything else we want from the bakery or the baker? Anything we want to talk to him about? It looks like the rush is coming. Another fella enters just as Edith's leaving, and you don't recognize him or what he does. Franklin doesn't greet him by name. Welcome to D&D. There's always a plot hook. Yep. Mel's adrenaline sting. Sausage roll. Do you want a sausage roll? How's everyone coping with Gretchen's ale? You ask him that. So how's everybody doing with... I'll leave you alone. You're obviously getting busy, but I just wanted to see, without the mead, if Toria's not actually making mead for us yet, how's everybody dealing with Gretchen? And he says, not too bad, actually. She's been working on it a lot now that the demand has gone up. And it's getting passable. It's still not the best, but it's the best we've got, so it's drinkable, right? I'll have to pop by and see if I can give her some tips or something, maybe. Knowing that you are proficient in brewer's tools over there, look, you are proficient in brewing, and so maybe you'd be able to help her out on what have you. All right, so then at this point, 3 more people have walked in and they're waiting, and you realise he's just got no time to chat anymore. It's about midday-ish, and so you say a thank you and distance yourself. You head out of the shop, back into the street. Where do you want to go now, everybody? What do you want to do? Totes crowded, getting panicked. Yep. What do you want to do? You're out of the bakery. You've found out that Toria is still in town, or rather at one of the farms, but she just didn't want to stay in Jack Creed's place anymore. You want to put on a mask? Asmiel was away for some minutes. He missed the hook. Well, I can't say Asmiel, because maybe it wasn't a hook. Maybe it was just world building. Maybe it was just verisimilitude. Or maybe it was a hook. We want to go cash in the ears. Want to see Edith about brewing potions. Edith has COVID. Skeptical of our ability to give her any tips now. We've been terrible at both cooking and one of our other proficiencies. Yeah, if we can't play the panpipes and we can't cook, maybe our brewing would be just as bad. Cash in the ears. Cash in the ears. Put yes. Put a thumbs up, gauntleted yes emote in the chat, or a yay emote if you're not a subscriber. If you want to go to the mayor's house next to cash in the ears, and put a down no if you want to do something else instead. Do we want to phone in and video chat to Edith? Fantasy, I think that's a higher level spell than you have access to. Some sort of programmed illusion spell. Get some hand sanitizer from the apothecary, which is Edith. So you'd have to go to Edith to get some hand sanitizer. Find out how to make potions from Edith before she dies of fantasy COVID. That's a good point. If you distance yourself, she might not be around to teach you about potions. There's a lot of yeses coming in. Any other no's? Two Bread Tom, what would you like to do instead of going to the mayor? Spell message to her. You're a piece of shit, Bodger. Two Bread Tom wants to go to Edith. Level up to 4. Learn the spell message. You don't get access to level 2 spells till you're level 5. But message is a cantrip. You just don't have cantrips as a ranger. Oops, wrong mind number. Sorry, you're not a piece of shit. I pointed to the wrong person. Oops. Alright. Two Bread Tom wants to go to see Edith to learn brewing potions and salves, but everybody else is saying yes. You are the odd one out, I'm afraid, Two Bread Tom, so one synapse in Apus's mind says we should go to visit Edith, the other synapses are all firing in unison, saying that we should go to the mayor and get our bounty. Not least because it means we can get rid of these quickly rotting goblin ears in our pocket. Wanted for bringing COVID to Twitchdales. I didn't. You guys did. So we head to the mayor's house, which is in town. It's a rather large wooden building, wooden struts, relatively pointed roof, and sort of pillars outside the front door, big double doors. We wander in. There's nice hardwood floorboards, and it's just like an open room. There's nobody there to greet us. It's just an open room with 3 different rooms off of it. You know them. You know the one directly opposite to be the mayor's office, and you know the ones on either side are meeting halls that can be hired out or used for whatever. So you walk forwards, and there's a notice on the door that says, "Please knock." Good night. Who is it? Come on in. And you open the door and you see Jackson, the dark-skinned human male, probably in his early to mid 30s ish, so probably about middle-aged for this period of time. And he's sitting behind a desk. He's doing some work on paper. He looks up. Apis! Oh, you're alive! Wonderful news. We were starting to get a little worried, buddy. Come on in. Have a seat. He looks like he's about to get up and like hug you or shake your hand or something, but then thinks better of it and sits back down and offers you the seat opposite his table. How are you? Can I get you a drink? Drink of anything? What do you think? Can you get a drink? You do know, you can see off to his right, your left, there's a bit of a drinks cabinet in this room. Would you like anything? It's about midday now, about noon. Edith's old enough, she should be getting the vaccine soon. Yeah, but she lives in a frontier town, so the vaccine's going to take a while to get here. Rotting ears are great for keeping people away, but will attract wild animals. Yeah, which we can then try and befriend. Yay, win-win. Offer him the bun immediately. It's not much of a bargaining chip if we offer it immediately. Drink, money and drinks. A couple of people saying yes, we want a drink. So yes, I'll just take whatever you've got. Anything? And he says, yeah, no problem. And he walks over. He starts to pour out some. He gets a jug of water. Pours out some water into a couple of clay mugs, and hands you one and sits down with the other. So tell me what happened. Tell me about where you were. Tell me everything. What do you guys feel like you would tell him? Yeah, you're not friends with Jackson by any means. You don't know much about him, but you know that he's always friendly to you whenever you're in town. And he knew that you were going out to deal with goblins. Tell him just the bare minimum, Fancy says. Tell him enough that we can explain how we got the goblin ears. Tell him about the goblin camp. A general overview, he doesn't know. He just needs to know the gist. Tell him only what we trust him with that also might lead to further information. What he needs to know as mayor, that's a good idea. Good point. We don't tell him much about the elves. Alright, so we tell him, so I followed the goblins until I found Mel the first time. I went back to the goblins' bodies where we'd left them. And from there I tracked the direction that they were heading. And sure enough, I found another goblin troop, a little goblin. There were about 4 or 5 of them. They were heading in, sort of just patrolling. I followed them back the direction they were coming, until eventually I found my way back to a goblin camp nearby, probably 6 or so hours into the forest. So not exactly close, but close enough, I suppose. I dealt with the goblins there. The camp is no longer there. To cut a long story short, he says, "You dealt with goblin camp on your own. It's impressive. How many were there?" There were a few, but I dealt with them in separate amounts. Thankfully, they weren't all there at once. As I say, the ones that I dealt with on the way back to the camp, and then there was the one that was out patrolling, and then that didn't leave many that were actually still in the camp. But I dealt with all of that. That reminds me, you reach into your bag and you get out the blood-stained handkerchief that's got the 5 dried jerky goblin ears in it now. That don't smell particularly nice. And you say, I understand there's a reward for... And he says, yes, there is indeed. How many have we got there? Oh, and they're all right. They're all right ears as well. You did a good job of that. Yes, I'll get you that now. And he opens up a drawer in his table and he pulls out a sack of gold and he puts his hand in and he pulls out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and he hands it over to you. You now have 5 gold to add to your thing. There you go. You've collected 5 gold bounty on the goblin ears, and he says, I can dispose of that for you, and he just grabs the handkerchief by the edge of it and pulls it across the table towards him. Towards the over desk, I should say. Do we tell him anything about the elves? Like the fact that on the way back, that's why we've taken so long, because we got waylaid by elves? Because he will ask if we don't tell him, he'll say like, how long did it take to take care of one goblin camp? We're gonna need some hand sanitizer after handling those rotten ears. Yeah, some Middle Ages hand sanitizer. They definitely had that. If it was some other D&D group, we'd be off to the brothel already. If only, mythical Tyrion. But there isn't, so c'est la vie. Tell him some false particular to see if he's suspicious. What sort of thing have you got in mind, dodging therapy? Can try a little diplomacy about the elves. What exactly do you mean by that, S2 Saint? You would tell about the elves, but not tell about their locations. Okay. Might be an idea to tell them we chased the goblins north and fought them and an ogre. What would explain why we'd talk so long. So instead of talking about the elves, just say that we fought them somewhere else. Are we lying about them or what? I know, right? Nitru Scott? I know. Why do we need to lie to people? We stopped to let some other villagers know. Wouldn't specifically mention elves. We're in a bit of two minds about this. All right. So firstly, yay or nay? Yes, gauntlet or no gauntlet? Do we tell him about the existence of elves in the forest? Yes or no? Just the existence of elves. I'm not talking about their locations or anything yet. Do we tell them that we met elves? Do we think he would already know? Let's make an intelligence check on behalf of Apis. Nat 1. We don't know whether he would know or not. I do think telling him that we defeated an ogre would build trust with him and impress him. Is the existence of elves detrimental to the village? Not that we know of. He and they have lived there for ages. He would know that. He's a mayor. They would have told him to keep away. Would they be troubled by the elves living in the forest? We know that elves are racist towards non-elves. Is that reciprocated? Not particularly. Humans, in your experience, humans are not particularly racist towards other species. In fact, they're quite enamored by other species. Humans have a very short life. Comparatively with a lot of other races, a lot of other species. Yeah, humans are not particularly racist towards other species because they are more interested in other species. They always want to know more about what it would be like to... They sort of use... They almost live vicariously through other species sometimes. By learning stories, they learn the languages of other species a lot more, and they're a lot more integrating. Hence why a lot of half species are human, half other thing, because humans are the most inclined to live among other cultures. Seems like an overwhelming yes. Yeah. All right. So we'll tell him that the elves live there. We'll tell him that elves live. We met some elves. Do we tell him so next yes or no is, do we tell him that there are 4 elven villages? And yeah, do we tell him that there are 4 elven villages somewhere in the forest without telling him the specific details of it? No. No. Maybe we can tell him that someone was talking about elves in the forest, and depending on his reaction, we decide to confirm it or not. That's a good idea, dodging therapy. So while I'm getting the response from this, we say, we let's see if I can tactfully. We'll do just a straight charisma check. Skill charisma. So that's a 13. So with a 13, we managed to bring up elves in conversation in a tactful and not super suspicious way, and his reaction is not negative. His reaction is not a negative one. He doesn't like roll his eyes or anything like that. He doesn't overly say anything like, "Oh, elves, yay! Oh, tell me more." It's just like because we only bring it up subtly in conversation, he doesn't react to it in any big way. So with that, we tell him we actually met some elves. Speaking of elves, we actually met some. That's actually why I was a little later than I expected to be. So that is an overwhelming no. That we are not going to tell him that there are 4 elven villages. We're just going to tell him that we met some elves. It's not lying or evasion, just not bothering him with the details. Yeah, that's fair enough. We helped some elves. The goblins, the goblin camp. So there was the ones that I dealt with, the ones that were out patrolling, the ones that were in the camp that I dealt with in the camp. Then after the ones in the camp, the ones that were out patrolling came back and I dealt with them as well. But I then found out there was another one that was out raiding some elves, and I went and I met with those elves and dealt with the goblins and the ogre. And you slip in that there was an ogre there as well. I dealt with the goblins. We took down an ogre, and I was helping them with the aftermath of that. And you kind of just leave it there. And he goes, he says, "Oh, you met the." You met the elves, did you? You were that far north. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect the goblins to be so deep in the woods. Aren't the elves like 3 days north of here? And you say, "Oh, you know that there's elves living here." He goes, "Yeah. The what do they call it? The 4 sisters, I think they call it, right? The 4 sisters. Isn't there like 4 sister villages or something?" You go, "Oh, right. Yeah. You're away." No, they're not 3 days north. They're a little closer than that. He goes, "Oh, right. The ones that have been here have said that it's a several day journey. Maybe they meant like round trip rather than one direction. That would probably make sense." Apparently, he already knows about them. Should we let the knights know about the goblins and the ogres and things? Is that what you mean by the let them know fancy? Like, let the knights know about the goblins and the ogres? Should we let the knights know about the goblins and the ogres? The ogre. No worries about telling him things he might not need to know. Could probably tell him we ended up chasing the goblins to the furthest village. Yeah. He goes, well... he says, yeah, I'll definitely let the knights know. You can talk to them yourself if you want, but I'm meeting with Paul later today, and I'll be discussing things then. So I'll be able to bring up this sort of stuff. So how sure are you that you got, like, there's all the goblins gone? Like, you said you dealt with a few of them, but you've only brought me 5 here. Well, by the time I got to them to take their ears, it had been a few days since I'd killed them, or since they'd died, and a few of them had been eaten beyond recognition as ears. I didn't think at the time to take their ears straight away. All right, fair enough. is there anything unusual these days apart from the situation at the apiary? It's a good question. So you ask him that. Is there anything else going on that's unusual aside from the apiary situation? Is unusual. Not really unusual, I'd say. Let me just roll something real quick. No, nothing really unusual. I mean, define unusual. There's always things going on in a frontier town. We've got plenty of things to deal with, but the knights are pretty busy trying to expand the hut into an actual barracks, and they're trying to get a path from Fondurg set up so that we can actually come and go a little easier, so that people can come and go and goods. We can start an open trade with Fondurg, but people of Fondurg apparently pushing back on it because of the danger of the path between here and there. I don't know. I mean, nothing really unusual. Like, it's unusual that Gretchen's actually getting adequate at at making mead, at making ale. I suppose that's unusual. Nothing else that I know about, really. We had another death while you were gone. Nothing really that surprising. It was old man that lives. I don't know if you ever met him. Old man used to be a carpenter. The carpenter's father, well into retirement, on the northern edge of town. It was unfortunate, but it was not surprising, as I say. Got a bit well, not really sick. He just got ran out of the will to carry on, I guess. But hey, it happens. We dealt with it. We moved on. So you back in town for long? Are you going to stay around, or what do you guys think? What's up, Aja? What's up? Who knows? We didn't put our ring of charisma. We won't get into the Rangers Guild. Mention Edith. What are we mentioning about Edith, Fancy? Mention about how Edith's not feeling well either. We just bumped into Edith at Franklin's place, and as you say this, you get out your iced bun that you wanted to eat in front of the mayor. You don't mind if I eat in here? And he says, no, please. It's lunchtime after all. My stomach's rumbling. You can probably hear it. I've got to go get something to eat myself, actually. I think he said he bagged a pheasant yesterday. I'm interested to try some of that between some bread. Yeah, I will. We bumped into Edith while we were there. She said she's not been feeling right. Yeah, she's been complaining about feeling really weak over the last few days. She's been feeling like she's drained of energy and she's having a harder time with her muscles, I think. But hey, it's what you get from being old, I guess. She's probably, between you and me, and keep this between you and me, I think she's just not really got long for this world, to be honest. She's had a good long life, though. Hey, yeah, she is relatively old. Does she have family here? I don't think so. I think she's got what would it be? I've never been good with the family's things, but I think her sister, who died last year, her sister had a kid who moved away, but then her daughter came back. So her sister's granddaughter, I think she lives in town, but I'm not exactly sure that that's the relation. It might have been a cousin or something. Do you want to? Are you gonna keep an eye on her just in case there's it gets any worse? Yeah, I'll keep an eye on her. I suppose there's not much we can do about combating age, though. Should we offer him the other bun? Yes or no? Sparrow says yes. Do we offer him the other bun, or are we trying to entice him with the deliciousness of this bun and then use it as a bargaining chip for some reason or other? Rob is the mayor. Yep. Any other elders feeling ill? Should we ask him that, Mythical? Say, any other older folk feeling ill? Because, I don't know if... Well... Actually, yeah, now you mention it. Paul's feeling a little under the weather lately. Feels a little drained. It's just, I think it's just, it's a tiring time with the death of Jack Reed, and constantly feeling like we've got to work to try and build this town to be self-sustaining before the winter. It's going to be a big day, big year rather. I think Paul's just feeling a little stressed out with all of the things that he's got to deal with the Fondurg path. All right, lots of people saying yes to the bun. So you need to put a no if you think no, Tom. Otherwise, I just see all the yes emotes. She needs to pick me up. Give him the finger. So we give the mayor the finger. So we said, would you like one? I've got a spare. And he says, oh, if you're sure. I mean, it looks delicious. I wasn't going to say anything, but that looks like it would really hit the spot. Hey, absolutely. I got it because I knew I'd be coming here. I thought you might not have eaten yet. And I was right. You never bloody eat. You're always so busy working and trying to expand this town to be what it can be, to reach its full potential, that you never give yourself time to eat. And it's important to look after yourself. It's more important that I get my work done and make sure that everyone in the town is happy. That's more important. No, it's not. You've got to eat. You've got to eat, Mayor. No. I'll eat when I'm finished with my work. When it gets to the point where I can't continue working because I'm so hungry, then I'll go and get something to eat. Bit of fourth wall breaking there. Quit projecting. He takes the delicious bun and it just like the top part just like cracks a little under the teeth, and then the bottom part's like real chewy as his teeth sink into the chewy dough, and the sweetness of the bread hits his tongue, and he starts to salivate. And then the delicious icing that's on the top, that sort of almost crisped over whipped honey butter, delicious. Apis has turned into my mother. The work doesn't matter if the mayor drops dead from not eating. Is this a discussion between us and Rob? What gave it away, Gus? Rob will be going to the bakery after this to get a frosted bun. God damn you will, yes. I think we managed that the mayor trolled himself. Iced buns. Buns? You're a bun man, Douglas. You like buns, do you? That's a tough name. I guarantee none of you know what that's from. So, what the hell were we doing? I got myself distracted thinking about food. So we give the mayor the bun. We eat the other one ourselves. What else are we talking about with the mayor? Is there anything else that you wanted to ask the mayor or talk about? Before we leave the mayor, I don't know what else you want to do in town, but what else is there? Nothing else? He says, well, if we're done with the goblins, if you're pretty sure they're not a problem, then I might not have to leave those posters up for very long. I honestly expected to be doling out a little more gold than I've had to. One of the knights came back with 3 goblins from the southern part of town, just on the path. They were just wandering goblins, the nomadic type. Came across them, but other than that, you're the only one who's brought any in so far. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they if more come in. I'll leave them up for a few more days, I guess. But if there's not another attack or anything, then might bring it down. If the knights do anything or just vanished, do nothing at all. What? Who just vanished? Nothing's vanished. Did I miss you talking about goblin ears? Yes, we were just discussing we presented him the 5 ears that we had and got paid for it. Two Bread Tom says, let's go see Edith. Hoping she didn't die in the last 5 minutes. Asmiel wants to go to the knights, though. We can go and check, put his mind at rest. The knights are awesome. Don't diss the knights. We need to quickly train up to get a secret knight so we can re-meet the real knights that we lied to. We need to become a knight. We need to enter the knights ranking system and then train up through like 4 different promotions to get above the lady that we talked to, so that we can get over our lie to her. We know that she was a badger, which is the 3rd stage in the knights promotion ranks. Downgrading it to a normal wariness of goblins should be okay if they don't see anything else coming yet, maybe. A knight with ears. I wonder if that's who found our tied up goblin buddy. Maybe, but the tracks from that camp were leading north of the goblin camp, not south towards where we are now. Alright, seems like we've got another decision to be made. What are the options? We've got a few people wanting to go to the knights, a few people wanting to go to Edith. Other options as well. What would other options be? Go to the blacksmith to get studded leather armor. Go to the general store to stock up on anything that we feel like we need. Check the notice board for seeing if there's anything to do on the notice board. All right, those are some options for you. Okay, question. What now? Question mark. 3-minute decision. Starting now. I feel like we could just tell her the truth because it looks bad now that we've helped her deal with the problem. It looked bad now that we've helped to deal with the problem. Maybe Gus. Or maybe Gus. Since we used up the last of our salve, we might want to buy some more salve, yeah. Is it only me, or would a knight not collect bounty, getting paid already, and honour and stuff? They do get paid, yeah, but some of their payment comes from getting bounties and things. There are 2 types of. Well, how much would you know? How much do I tell you? Let's make an intelligence check. I should be rolling on here, shouldn't I? Whoops. Skill. Intelligence. What would it be? History? Maybe it's a history check actually. Yeah, history. Hey, not 20 plus 3. We would know that of the Knights of Kavosna, they are a faction of a faction within this country of fighters and paladins and some rangers that protect the land. Kavosna is the god of protection. And so there are two different types of knight. There are field knights, and there are the other knights. Even with the nat 20, we're not a knight, so we wouldn't know the ins and outs of like what each of the ranks is called and stuff. But we know that there are field knights and there are other knights. So there are knights that go out exploring, like adventurer type knights, that patrol paths between towns. They keep people safe. In civilized areas like that, they explore rumors of goblins in the area or things like that. We also know that the field knights they go through ranks of badger, which is the beginning rank of a field knight. They're the ones with the blue cloaks. That's the one that Kathleen is. And then the next stage up, with a nat 20, we would know that the next stage up are known as wolverines. And the wolverines have red capes. And then we would know that there is, we've never seen one, but we know that there is a rank above wolverine that wears silver cloaks. And then we're not sure if there's ranks above that, even with the nat 20. We don't know, as I say, the intricacies of it. And then as for other knights, you've got, when you first start out, regardless of, before you sort of divided into those two subdivisions of knight, you start as a prospective squire, which is what Warren is. And then once you are inducted properly into the knights, you become a squire, and you're granted your Knights of Kavosna bracer to signify that you are actually a proper knight now. And then from prospective squire, you are promoted into badger, and you either become a field badger or a town guard, effectively. So with 47% of the vote, we vote to go to Edith, followed relatively closely by 32% of the vote wanting to go to the Knights, and only 3 people wanted to go to the general store, and only 1 person wanted to check the notice board, and nobody wanted to go to the blacksmith. So Apis is a little bit torn with this, being that it came in at less than 50% of the vote, but the majority of Apis does decide that we're going to go to visit Edith. So he said thank you very much to Mayor Jackson, and we bid him adieu to get back on with his work. We remind him one more time that he needs to eat lunch, and he says, "Don't worry about me. I'll eat lunch when I'm done, maybe about half an hour or so when I'm finished. You take care of yourself. Stick around town. It's good to have you. If you're still around tonight, maybe I'll see you in the Lucky Loot. Hey, maybe." And then you walk out of his office, you close the door, and you leave out onto the street. We found Ben's good rolls. They're here on unimportant things again. Yeah. I'd still rather save our gold for a chain shirt. It gets a better modifier than studded leather at the 30-ish gold pieces that it would take to stud hours. I retconned that Sparrow to say that it would be a lot less than that. I think it would probably be around the 10 gold piece mark, because it feels like 30 gold is way too much. It depends. That does depend on whether or not the blacksmith already has the studs and they just need to rivet them into your leather or not. If they have to make the studs as well, then it would be slightly higher, maybe 20 gold. Okay, we should say we are Wolverines and give our cloak that red colour. We do have a cloak that we can change to look like whatever we want it to. My knight's ranking is that of a Blackwood squirrel. Make him a proper cup of tea. Since I can brew tea, it's not cooking, I guess. Yeah. So we head out onto the street. We head over towards Edith's apothecary. Have we been here before? Maybe once or twice. We're not super familiar with it though. We pop in through the door. Tring opens it up, and this smell hits us. It's not like it's a big thick cloud of green haze in here like it was at Deloise's apothecary. She doesn't make the potions and things out here in the shop front. It's a residence/shop. She lives in the upstairs portion, and she works in the shop in the front of the downstairs portion. But instantly you can tell that there's a doorway that's open towards the back that you can see that there is. I'll make a perception check for you really quick. Oh yeah, lots of stuff. 19 plus 4. 23. With a 23 perception, you can hear that there's something bubbling in the back room. You can smell that there's a bunch of different incense and things that are mingling together here in the shop. You can see that there are shelves, quite high shelves, that go almost wall length, all along one left-hand wall, and then there's like a glass cabinet over towards your left-hand wall that's like almost display cases. And then she's got like a little table, like a standalone table that's just put up against the back wall next to the door into the workshop or laboratory or whatever she's doing back there. So we walk in. There's a little tringing of the bell as above the door, and you hear a little voice from the back room go, I'll be just give me one moment there, darling. I'll be through in a second. Just got to put this thing down here. Oh dear, just give me We sort of just stand patiently and look around. There's a small step ladder that can be used to reach the higher shelves. We have a look in some of the glass cabinets, and you can see there's all kinds of pots and jars and bowls, and there's a nice there's one shelf that's just really nice statuettes carved in various different forms. There's a lovely piece of artwork up on the wall that looks like a tapestry that's been woven together to make like a landscape scene of like a hill into like a bit of a bay, a bit of a beachy kind of bay. We could tell them the truth so that we don't have to spend the rest of our life built on lies yet. Unless it's Kathleen, we don't need to lie that we're one of them. Yeah. That was my good lung. Oh no. Getting the flashbacks of the voodoo shop in Monkey Island. Yes, love that game. It's one of my favourite games. Don't forget to keep a respectable distance from Edith and ask for hand sanitizer and masks. I'm unreasonably excited about this shop after that description. Keep her at a 2 meter distance. We stand back towards the front wall with the nice big glass window in it, and there's like a few what are they called? Dream catchers. A few dream catchers hanging in the window. There's a couple of. It almost looks like a one of those Christmas shop display windows on like Macy's or something, where it's like there's different layers set up in the windows with all the different products on it. Got a whole bunch of stuff in it. But we stay there, and then eventually we hear some glassware being put down on a bench in the back room, and then Edith comes hobbling out from the back room and.
Oh! You did come by to visit me. Yeah, it's so lovely. What can I do for you, Apis? How are you? Are you doing all right?
What would you like to ask her about? She walks over to the table and just like puts her hands on it. She doesn't sit down. She just kind of sits there and stands there rather and looks at you expectantly.
I love you, Edith. Teach me all you know.
That'll go down well. Ask her how long her script for this D&D episode was. What? Yeah. Is it? Did you get all the pages for the script, or did yours like end halfway through?
Oh, mine just stops after this encounter for some reason. I don't have any other scenes after this. I wonder why that is.
Thank you for the 100 bits, Drebsdorf. Appreciate it. This part of Apis considers to ask her about teaching us all she knows, as she will probably die soon, but finally decides not to. Would these symptoms ring any bells to us? I'm going to make a medicine check on your behalf. Let's do it on Nightbot. Skill. Medi. A 7 plus 2 with a 9. It sounds like getting old, to be honest. She is weak and lacking in energy. Muscularly weak and lacking in energy. Feeling drained. Nothing. No particular. No particular disease or illness comes to mind for us. A potion book. Check her prices for potions and medicine check her to see if she might have any obvious signs of illness rather than just old age. So that was the medicine check I just did. We got what was it? A 9 total. So with that, we don't know. Her symptoms don't reveal anything to us, but we could do other things if you thought of some other way to check for symptoms of anything. So we ask her what sort of things she's got, and you say that I recently became aware that there's a particular type of salve called a prin salve. It's really useful for like injuries and things. And she goes, "Oh yes, it is. It's very useful. It's quite difficult to get a hold of." But and as she's talking, she's like hobbling over to one of the glass cabinets. It's quite difficult to get a hold of, and therefore it's a little bit pricey, I'm afraid. But I think and she kneels down. I think have I got 2 of them? And she steps down to see how many she's got. I'm gonna go D4 minus 1. How many pots of Prince Salve does she have? Oh, she's got a decent supply of them. She's got 3 pots of Prince Salve in her inventory. I've got 3 of them. That's right. And she bends down closer to us. Check her neck. Let's make a perception check. I'll do it on Nightbot. I'm looking forward to having my dice camera so that I don't have to roll on Nightbot every time. It's so much easier. 19 perception check. We check out her neck. She's wearing like a loose, not velvet. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a lacy scarf, almost like a decorative sort of lacy scarf around her neck. So we can't see everything about her neck, but seems like an old person's neck. She's got loose folds of skin that. And liver spots and things, but nothing that we notice about her neck that would indicate big old bite marks or anything that we can see. So she does have pots of salve. You ask her how much are they, and she says it would be. She gets them, so she's selling them at a wholesale price. She says, well, I as I say, they're pretty pricey, I'm afraid, but they're currently on sale. I'm currently selling them for 20 gold pieces per pot. But as you say, it's very proficient stuff. Not proficient, is that the right word? They're very efficient usages of medicine. They're really for emergencies only. If you really can't afford to wait for the bone to heal, or you don't think that your bone will heal, or you've got some sort of mortal injury to your insides or something, it can be used to speed up the process. Oh, why am I telling you? You said that you've just used some. You know how it is. So yeah, unfortunately, she's selling them wholesale, not retail. Sorry, retail, not wholesale. And so her prices are a little bit higher than you would have got them directly from the elves, for instance. Yeah, we rubbed Mel B until she was slippery as an eel. A beel. A frill. A bit of frill. She's got a garlic necklace on. Muslin. Maybe. I'm not too familiar on what muslin is. Sounds like she could use some herself. No salve is less discussion. That's good. Is there something that she needs that we could help with? She says, well, you ask her that. Is there anything you need that we can help with? She says, oh, well, where did you get some Prince Alf from? Do we tell her? It is a barter economy, Gus, so you could definitely haggle her down if necessary, or you could trade something to take something off of the price. It's definitely very much a barter economy. So do we tell her where we got the Prince Alf from? Do we tell her that there was an elvish village nearby that makes it? She's the medicine lady. Ask her about the old guy who died. She'd know more than the mayor and be less dismissive. Ah, good point, Ajo. Well, first she asks us where did we get this stuff from, and most people are saying yes. And she says, where did you get the Prince Elf from? And we say, there's some villagers of elves nearby in the forest, and she went, oh, you went to the Four Sisters, did you? Yes, that's where I get mine from as well. Every so often they'll come by, maybe once every 3 months or so. They'll come by, maybe once a season, and they'll drop off some, and we'll buy it from them, and then I'll sell. That's where a lot of my stock comes from, actually. It's a bit far for me to go myself, but it's thankfully they came by only about a month ago or so they probably won't be by in a while. But if you're that way again, you feel free to stock up on anything they've got, and you bring it to me, and I'll buy it from you. It's a good way of me keeping my stock up now that I'm not really feeling up to making a lot of the potions myself anymore. I'm getting a little bit old for that, I think. These hands aren't what they used to be, and she brings them up and they're quite shaky and they just look weak and a little bit emaciated. She goes, they're not really what they used to be. I don't have the strength in my fingers anymore, so I'm finding that it's not what it used to be. So if you're over that way, I might have to turn to buying them. It might up my prices a little more or eat into my savings, but I don't mind as long as we've got something here for when the town needs it. You never know in a town that's setting up like we are. You never know how often you're going to need healing. If there's an accident or terrible monsters that come by, it's good to have these sorts of things. We say, Edith, not to turn the conversation too morbid, but I heard that there was an elderly fella that died recently. Did you attend the funeral? And she says, oh yes, Howard.
Howard was a friend. He was a lovely man. It was such an unfortunate incident when to hear about him passing like that. Age is such a terrible thing. And she looks at you forlornly. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy to get this frail, and you just feel like you're so useless. You're not who you were, not capable of the things you were. It's just so... I know my time is coming. I know people start to look at me like I'm not long. I'm not long till I'm gone. I just feel like I shouldn't be this person anymore. I used to be 21. And for a long time I just felt like I was still. And then all of a sudden I looked down one day and I've got these hands. And I'm not... Age is such a terrible thing. Howard was such a dear.
Did she help to determine his cause of death? What do you think happened to Howard?
Oh, just the age. He was weak. In the last few days before his death, he became really not himself. To be honest with you, love, it's a bit of a blessing that he went when he did, and didn't have to stick around and suffer too much longer. He used to be such a strapping young man. I remember when we first lived together back in Fonderg, before we moved out here. Well, before we had a whole life, and he was a lovely man. He was so strapping, so strong, so handsome. And then in the last few days, his strength just left him. It just happened so suddenly, so quickly, like he was just... I don't know what it was. It was just the age, I think, but now I feel it. I feel my strength's leaving me, and I tell that I'm going down the same path. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into such a downer. What can I get for you, my love?
We should have brought a third, but sounds like she might need an apprentice. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to go call my grandma now. Take old lady on one last quest for glory in exchange for that. Come with us! We'll show you a good time. The ale is killing everyone. Should we go back and get another bun? Not himself, how? She just said he hasn't been feeling herself, and he says, well, he wasn't himself. How do you mean he wasn't himself?
Oh, just that he was always so capable of his... He was independent, was Howard, right up to the last. He was always able to keep himself fit and active, and yes, he was not quite as fit as he used to be. Obviously, he couldn't lug around the wood that he always used to, and had to pass that on to his son a few years ago. But he still kept himself busy, you know. He could walk around town. He would visit people. He would deliver some of the furniture as long as it wasn't too heavy. But then the last few days, he just barely could get out of bed under his own strength anymore. And that's why I say it was a bit of a blessing that it didn't last too long. From the time he started to feel weak to the time that he actually passed, it must have only been a couple of days, I think.
We should get her a bun. Agent can just suck, yeah. Bagel wants to put her out of her misery. So Apis brings out that hunting knife and says, I can make it better for you, Edith. Don't you worry. As you say, it's a bit of a blessing. And then we make an attack roll. I'm just going to roll for that. Oh, nat 20. So she takes... Maybe now we should use primeval awareness now, since we suspect some mischief. I still want to ask if she needs help with anything. So the response to the needing help with anything, Asmiel, was just like, if you're ever passing the elves, you could buy some more of their product for me. But you ask, like, do you need anything more like physical help though? Like, do you need an apprentice or someone that you can work with? I know how to brew ale and things, so I know the equipment. I just don't know potions. Says, oh well, I definitely need somebody to take over when I'm gone, and my great niece, she's showing no interest in the. I've tried, but she just is not interested, and so I really do need somebody, but I don't think there's many people who are interested in potions. It's all a little bit dangerous. Sometimes the potion can go wrong, and you don't want the responsibility of having made a poison when you meant to make a healing potion, you know? I thought you were going for the kill. No, I was just joking. Once is coincidence, twice is happenstance, 3 times is enemy action. If they have anyone else develop these symptoms, they definitely need to investigate the possibility of it not just being old age. Helping in the back of the store and stuff, brooming out. Well, Epi says, well, I can always give you a hand with, like, sweeping and things. Oh, that's very kind of you. I do, if you don't mind, if you're not busy, I could always do with a hand sweeping things. Do you know if yeah, absolutely, I can help with that for sure. Do you know Toria? And she goes, Toria. I'm just gonna roll to see if she does. Not by name. Is that a person? Hey, Toria. She's a young lady. Just moved in from elsewhere. I don't know if she came from Fonderg or somewhere else, but she came to run Jack Creed's farm. She was at the funeral. Oh, that young lass. Oh, she's lovely. Yes, she's a lovely little lass. I hope she does well. Is she still around? She is still around, eh? She came in to learn how to brew mead, and then obviously unfortunate events of Jack Creed. She lost her mentor. But she's proficient with brewing, I'm sure. So maybe she'd be interested in becoming your apprentice. Oh, well, maybe. Where does she live? I think she's currently staying with the Coltons. I can pop out there and ask her if you want. Like, I wanted to pop out and catch up with her anyway. Now that I'm back in town, next time I see her, I can ask her if she'd be interested in becoming your apprentice. Oh, that'd be lovely. Yes, definitely put it out there as an option for her. If she don't force anything though. She doesn't need to do anything she doesn't want to. No, I understand that. I'm sure. I'll just put the option to her and let her choose. Oh, you're such a love. She comes around. Oh no, she's already around the table. She steps away from the display cases and pats you on the shoulder again, and then walks off behind the table. Let's settle this in town and live here for the next 60 years. Yep, could be. What will happen to all of her knowledge when she's gone? Can she write a book to give her purpose? Maybe. Do you want to suggest that to her? It seems like a little morbid to bring up her morbidity. I'm interested in potions, but not in taking over a shop? Maybe. Finally, hand over your knowledge, Edith. Come on. Nice and easy now. No resisting. It's like brewing, but it's in town. Is that a person? I mean, Toria could be a place for all. Like, if you just asked, "Do you know Toria?" You'd be like, "Is that a song?" If you hum it, I'll play it. Old Lady Rob is very sweet. Old Lady Edith is very sweet. You might come across some old ladies who are not very sweet. Sweet. Offer to dust her cupboards. Do you need any dusting done? Why don't you grab me a cloth and I'll start dusting. What do you guys think to that? If Apis sticks around, a lot of you are saying to help her, so I assumed that you would be cool with that. But I really should put it to the vote, I guess. If you want to stick around and spend however long dusting her shop for her, she's got some really high shelves that she probably hasn't reached up to in a long time. I wonder when we'll finally meet Toria again. If Rob steps up his game, he would now lead the elderly woman into a loop back to the start of the talk because she forgot what we already talked about. I was considering it's IQ, but then I reminded myself that Edith is onto it upstairs. She's sharp as a button, sharp as a tack, sharp as a button. She's sharp as a button, by which I mean she's dumb as fuck. Edith is sharp as a tack upstairs. Her body is just failing her. She's becoming weak and drained of energy. Resistance is futile, Edith. Give me your knowledge. Might as well help her out while we're talking with her. Yes. Lots of people saying yes. All right. She's a cutie. Give her a hand. All right. So she gives us a cloth and we start to dust the tables while she's talking to us. She starts to just tell us anecdotes the way that old folk often do about the time that when she first moved here and set up shop maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was. She can't really remember, but it was a long time ago, and she's been living here a long time and blah blah blah, and she's telling us stories of it. We're dusting, we grab the stepping ladder and we start to step up the ladder, and you can see that on one of the shelves is just a bookshelf. It's just several books all back to back about potions and herbalism, how to recognize different plants, how to the art of stirring is just an entire book just on how to properly stir a potion, because like going the right way or the right number of times or the right depth into the potion and stuff, it can all make a difference. A whole bunch of books on potion making and herbalism and understanding the properties of plants, things like that. The fun uses of fungi, that's one of them. She could definitely use the help, but Franklin also did want us to meet Sally. True. Edith, sharper than Rob. Rude. Trude. Robert Hartley Grandma, yeah, that's what the GM stands for. Robert Hartley Grandma. Robert's going to kill her and make us sad, guys. Would I? Would I make sure that you get invested in an old lady just to kill her off? Things can go missing while getting dusted. It's making me miss my nan. Everybody call your nan. Already robbed a dead old man. Don't make us rob us live old ladies as well. I'm not making you do anything, Tom. I didn't make you do that either. You all chose in chat to rob the dead old man. Yay, loot. Loot books. Give me the golden chest, please, for 500. Ask about the prices of the books. She says, I mainly have them there for display. I've not had anybody ask me about the books in a while. What would I be willing to let them go for? I tell you, how much would be a book like this? Let me think, because in the economy of this world, they don't really have a printing press, so these books would be probably handwritten. They might have been copied by people who were the acolytes of various gods of knowledge and language and things. They would have been copied over, so it wouldn't be the only book in existence of that type, but it would have been handwritten and therefore a little bit more expensive. So maybe a gold piece for the book, because that's about $200. I feel like, how much work would you put into rewriting a book, to copying a book over? How many days would it take? A couple of days. Yeah, I reckon she asks for a gold piece. I'd probably, if I remember rightly, I think I bought them all for about a gold piece each. So I'd say about that, just to recuperate the cost. Well, what do I need gold for these days? So I don't want to ask for too much. We have to use our horseshoe to save her from Rob. Horseshoe ain't that powerful, mate. Apis wouldn't just steal them, no. Evidence. Oh no! There was an old man that died, isn't there? Another old man that died. It's crossing over campaigns. It's cross campaign contamination. Is she going to die of decapitation illness? Getting stabbed in the lung illness? Hey Edith, can I have all your books when you die? We could ask. We're not robbing the Knight's Lady. If he's dead, he's not stealing. I reckon we buy the herbalism one. You just might just fall down the stairs. Evil part of Apus's mind says. In fact, yes, I think this much means they cost too much. Yeah, books would be relatively expensive. I reckon it's not too out of the way to say that it'd be about a gold piece. But remember, this is a haggle economy. You could haggle it down to a few silver if you wanted to. There's 10 silver to 1 gold. Second hand. Nobody ever buys second hand things for brand new price. No, but they're still books, and it's harder to come by books in a medieval world. Books of good quality as well. It's clear that she's, like, aside from the dust on top of them, it's clear that she's looked after these books well. Get the one herbalism one, because it's useful for out and about. Does she have a locket? Locket. Brewing potions. So the herbalism one, so herbalism is a kit that you can get. You can get a herbalism kit. She would probably have one to sell you if you wanted one. And it helps you identify plants and to forage for certain things for potions. Let me look up what a herbalism kit does for you to remind myself as well. Herbalism kit. Apparently 5 gold pieces for a herbalism kit, but that's because they underestimate all the value of everything. It would probably be more like 2 gold pieces in my world, I assume. And what does it do? Oh, it's not in that one, it's in Xanathars, isn't it? Pretty sure it's Xanathars. Is it in here? Yeah, herbalism kit. So we aren't currently proficient in herbalism, but if we got a herbalism book, we would be able to, in our downtime, train in herbalism by reading the book. And once we've finished the book, once we're trained in herbalism, we would then be able to use a herbalism kit. Proficiency with a herbalism kit allows you to identify plants and safely collect their useful elements. It includes pouches to store herbs, clippers, and leather gloves for collecting plants and mortar and pestle, and several jars. If you make an Arcana check about the use of certain herbs in magical studies, then you get to add your proficiency with the herbalism kit to it. If you make an investigation check when you inspect an area overgrown with plants, your proficiency might help you pick out details and clues that others might miss. Your mastery of herbalism improves your ability to treat illnesses and wounds by augmenting your methods of care with medicinal plants. When you travel in the wild, your skill in herbalism makes it easier to identify plants and spot sources of food that others might overlook. You don't really need that one, being that you're an outlander, you're already overcome with food. And you can identify most plants with a quick inspection of their appearance and smell. So there'd like a couple of DCs to like identify poisons or identify plants and things. So if you took the herbalism book, for instance, you could train in your downtime with reading the herbalism book, and when you got proficiency, you'd gain that proficiency to any subsequent check that it would apply to. But it wouldn't necessarily help you with your potions brewing checks. If you wanted to start brewing potions and salves yourself, you would need one of the potion brewing for beginners book. Psyche is the part of your brain that randomly pictures throwing your phone down a drain for no reason. Yeah, call to the dark, call of the void, they call it. Learning each book takes ages, and we need all the things. Yeah. Okay, we should have one book to figure out which plants we'd need for brewing and potions and salves, because if we can't identify the plants, the book on brewing wouldn't be worth much. True. You can still make those checks, you just don't get to add your proficiency bonus to it. gather supplies and then use them. Ghosts have an attack which can cause actual aging, and potentially a lich could drain life or use similar abilities. Do we know if this apparent sudden aging is happening with individuals or entire communities? That's what they're trying to find out, Phil. A lot of people are trying to work out whether it is an individual thing or not. It seems like maybe 2 people have started feeling aged. They certainly weren't 30 yesterday and then suddenly 90 today. It's not. They are actually old people. They're just feeling the effects of age on a relatively short scale. May I borrow the books? Edith dies. Oh crap, I really wanted to bring these back, I swear. Learning D&D with Robert Hartley. Try to haggle her for 2 gold pieces for the book and the kit. We already got a free slot in our backpack, look, yeah. Alright, so we need to first decide what we're going to buy from her, and then from there you can then haggle a price with her. We need something silent to do next, because Smell doesn't like our cooking or music. Toria's a good option. This part of the Apis wants to be back at the apiary, not leave Mel alone there in the night. Be wise. Don't tell Rob. I won't. 1 herbalism book, 1 herbalism kit, and 1 potion brewing book. We can always come back, after she's dead. 5 gold piece max, and we could haggle her down. Unless she dies. There's weird aging going on? Not necessarily, Wraith. All I've described is that there's a couple of old people in town. One elderly man died in the last few days, and 1 elderly woman is feeling the effects of being old now. And the chat has latched onto it and said, something's going on! Whether there is or not, that's up to you to decide. Alright, it seems like how to exist as a life-sucking prick without being caught 101. Drain the people that won't be noticed. You wouldn't have mentioned if it wasn't important. I mentioned a lot of things, Barrow. I mentioned a lot of things. Some of the things I mentioned are just to add a bit of verisimilitude to the world, to make the world seem a little more real. I do add things to the world that just are regular everyday things. Knew you'd have another plot hook. Damn you, Rob. I don't know what you're talking about, Race. How old's the mayor? He's young. He's young to middle age, so probably like early 30s, I'd say, somewhere around there. What if it's the reverse? It's not advancing of age, but rather those people were feeling unusually invigorated, and the change was that this blessing or so was not removed. Very smart thinking, Phil. So maybe there was something that was preventing them from feeling the effects of age, and then suddenly that was turned off, and now they got their aging, their proper aging was introduced. 2 books and 1 kit. Buy it just before she dies. Red herrings are a thing. Yep. I suggest we buy the book and the kit and go ask the son of the wood chopper how it went down. Yeah, we could talk to the carpenter about how his dad passed away. At the moment, we've just been nice to an old lady. Yep, right now it's just being nice to an old lady. Perhaps we find his new pretty but very light-skinned wife. Not sure I get that reference. Oh, right, because she's a vampire. We wouldn't have latched if the mayor has just eaten lunch. Is there a basic book on how to make potions and salves? Yes, there is. Herbalism kit would help Apis with finding the herbs to make the potions and salves with. No, the herbalism kit just gives you the tools to use to grab the herbs. It doesn't help you identify which herbs you actually need. How about we let her hold on to 2 gold as a collateral for us borrowing all the books with a promise to return them? There's way too many books here for you to A, borrow for 2 gold, and B, carry around with you. She's probably got about a dozen books on the shelf. Is there a Ouija board around? Did we get goblin gold? Yes, we did. We got 5 gold for the goblin ears. All right, you're all getting a bit weird in the chat now. We need some kind of poll. Poll. Do we buy anything? Just the herbalism book, just the potion brewing book, just the herbalism kit, or the herbalism book and the kit, but not the potion brewing, or all three. We have a feeling like all three of them would cost us, before haggling, all three of them might cost us 4 or 5 gold, and then we might be able to haggle them down a little bit. The books should cost about a gold piece each, and the herbalism kit we're not 100% sure about. We haven't asked her for the price of it, but probably 2 or 3 gold. They come with leather gloves, some glass jars, some clippers, some mortar and pestle. There's a few things in the herbalism kit. Turn Edith into a renter book. Always return the book when we're done, which means she'll probably be dead after the first book. Yeah. Are there any books on how to play the panpipes? Not in this shop. Can we ask for a pot of salve in return? We'll resupply her from the elves. We can't just ask her for something that's worth 4,000 gold. To just be like, can you just give us an item that's worth $4,000? Sorry, not 4,000 gold. 20 gold, $4,000. That would be a lot. To make potions from scratch, we would need all 3 of those things. Whether we buy them right now or later, that's up to you. I should clarify. To make potions from scratch with proficiency, we would need all 3 of those things, and to put enough downtime into them to learn how to use all 3 of those things. Which is why I think Ajo was saying, just buy the first one first, get proficient in it with our downtime, and then we can move on to the thing that we need next and get proficient in it in our downtime, and then move on from there. Because if we bought them all now, we're carrying them around with us, with the potential to lose them if we're mugged or something. And then, we can only really read 1 book at a time. I say we try and haggle her down to 2 gold for all 3. That would definitely be pushing it, Wikuna. Because 2 gold would get you 2 books. And you're asking to throw in the most expensive items for free. The most expensive item for free. You can definitely barter down and haggle once she gives you a price for them. That will be represented by your persuasion skill, which you are not proficient in. You do have a +1 charisma, but it shouldn't be that great at persuasion. Depends whether Nightbot is good to us or whether we want to use inspiration to reroll it. I just come back to mention that we get distracted from learning Elvish. Yeah, we are currently also trying to learn Elvish, but we've done nothing towards doing that yet. We've not actually asked anybody to teach us properly, and we've not asked for any Elvish books or anything. We've been dusting like this for an hour. I should earn a discount. It's not been an hour. It's been like half an hour. If we'd put her out of misery, we could have just taken it. Just saying. Hashtag just saying. Potion brewing takes a decent setup. It's not super how we live our life. Yeah, potion brewing is a long journey in my world, by the way, guys. There are certain patrons that have access to my potion brewing rules. And so, you would know, potion brewing is an arduous journey that can be very lucrative, but it takes a lot. Alright, with 47% of the vote, we are wanting to buy all 3. 41% of the vote say only to buy the herbalism book and the kit. So that was an overwhelming majority saying that we want to buy more than just 1 book. Whether we buy the potion book or not was just on the edge. But that's why it always counts to vote in these polls, guys, because it came down to a 1-person vote. And Apis decides that they're going to try and buy all 3 of those things. So they pick out one of the herbalism, identifying herbs, identifying common herbs, let's say it's called. And the way what would a good title for a potion brewing for dummies book be? The art of potion brewing. There we go. We take those down from the shelf and we say, they're a little dusty. I don't suppose they've seen much use from you in a while, because you don't really need beginner books anymore. But if I was to buy these, and have you got some sort of kit that goes for? You explain it. She goes,
Oh yeah, yes, I've got a herbalism kit just over here. Look,
and she goes over to one of the lower shelves and she takes out like a satchel that kind of clinks a little bit as she picks it up, and she walks back over and she unbuttons the front and opens up the flap, and she starts to take out some items and shows you what's inside one of these kits.
It's a kit that all goes together really well, and it helps you to identify things, and it doesn't take up too much room because this glass jar goes inside of this one, and this one goes in here, and then the clippers can fit down in this little pocket here, and then the leather gloves, they just roll up here and they stuff them inside that jar, and it doesn't take much.
And so she puts that and she says,
"Are you interested in that?"
So we've got the 2 books and the herbalism kit on the thing. I'm going to roll to see how generous she's feeling to give you the initial price for them. She says,
if you wanted all 3 of these, I could do you them for let's say 5 gold pieces. I know it's quite a lot, but if you wanted all 3 of them, it is quite a lot of things that I would need to get back together again in case somebody else wanted them.
So her initial opening offer is 5 gold pieces. I'm going to roll a persuasion check for you, and we'll see from that how well you do at haggling her down. 5 gold pieces without haggling is pretty good. Might be 4 or 3 if we haggle. That's not bad at all. Remember that each gold piece is about $200, so like haggling her from 500 to 400 is a 20% discount, which is pretty good, pretty big. Haggling it down to 30 gold, haggling it down to 3 gold pieces would take a lot, because that's a 40% discount. Playing our panpipes in off time isn't exactly panning out. We have enough gold to go all out for the time being. Could take a while before we come back, and might not be able to get other books then if whatever is ailing Edith claims her. Yeah. Do they have muggers that mug people? Yeah, it's a real world that you're inhabiting. There are things out there that would try and mug you and kill you and take your things, or pickpocket you, or whatever. We can always use them as reference guides. I mean, who memorizes a cookbook? True, but this is more about like teaching you how to learn things. It's not just like a reference book. It's an educational book designed for teaching you proficiency in a certain skill. Buy them but return from time to time. Buy them but return them after you've used them. Try and sell them back to her, because that's another thing about books. Once you've got no use for them anymore, you can sell them on and they keep their value pretty well. Books will keep their value fairly well as long as you keep them in good quality. They're not flying off the shelves, no, but she's not in any rush to sell them, because what does she need the money for? An Elvish to Common dictionary. She doesn't have one of those. Man, you guys are talking quickly. I'm going to skip over everything you were saying there in order to roll that check. I was trying to catch up, but you're turning this into a bloody charisma check. Skill persuasion. 15 plus 1. Okay, so above average. We had a 16 persuasion check. If you want to, we do have inspiration and a lucky horseshoe today. So you could use one of those two to re-roll that in case we get even higher. Put a yes if you want to use inspiration to re-roll that, or inspiration or lucky horseshoe. If you want to re-roll that 15 and hope for something better, put an upwards yes emote. Otherwise, put a downwards no emote. Have we seen the size of the kit? We're still interested. It's a relatively we could carry the kit. Would be pretty bulked out, but I think we'd make it work. All right. Overwhelming no for re-rolling that. We're just going to go with the 16. So with the 16 persuasion, she decides to come down. What's that? It's a high enough roll that I'm okay with keeping out the horseshoe. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. With the 16 persuasion, she does bring it down to 4 gold pieces, and she and that includes all of the haggling backwards and forwards. And how about 3? Oh, it's a little low, my dear. I don't really need the money, but I'm sure blah blah blah, and she haggle back and forth until eventually she lands on 4 gold. So that is up to you whether or not you want to go for 4 gold now. So just again, yes or no's in the chat. I'm just gonna put this here as just something to. Anything below here is not about the reroll. It's now about the whether or not to take 4 gold as the price for this thing. Investing in education is not a bad idea. Shut up and take my money. Yes. All right, lots of people saying yes for that. All right, so I will mark off 4 gold. We got 5 for the goblin ears, and we've just spent 4 of it on these books and things, and I will write a little note to myself. We just bought some things from Edith. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to ask Edith or talk to Edith about or get from Edith? Anything else we want to do here in the apothecarist before we do something else? Maybe goes to the tavern, looks through the new stuff while doing a final recap for the day. That sounds like a good idea to me. PsyQ, what do you guys think? Is there anything else you wanted? So we went to... It's about noon when we went there. About 1 or 2 in the afternoon, let's so. We've got we can cast Primordial Awareness, just to remind everybody who's just joining us or new to the chat. As a ranger, we have an ability called Primeval Awareness, I think it's called. Where we can cast one of our 3 spell slots for the day in order to tune into certain influences that are in the town. When did her sickness start? Not necessarily a sickness, Gus. She started feeling weak a few days ago. What Fancy said, before we go to sleep, just to put our minds at rest. It's not really end of the day long rest time, it's like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Can't think of anything else to do here. Salve is too expensive. We already have a potion. We bought all the things we need to brew more ourselves. Yep. We can always buy the ingredients here as well, like so that we don't have to go out and find and identify and find herbs and stuff. We can buy the ingredients for the potions in a place like this. Oh, Fancy's already got the awareness as a command there. Nice. Epics can expend a ranger slot to focus their awareness on a region around them for 1 minute per level of the spell slot. Which is just level 1 at our stage. They can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within up to a mile of them. Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. It really bothers me that fae isn't capitalized there, Fancy, when all of the other ones are. This feature doesn't reveal the creature's location or number. Are we leveling Mel overnight? Are we leaving Mel overnight? Sorry. That's up to you guys. But it's not nighttime yet. You've still got plenty of the day left. A few people want to go check out the carpenter's place as well. Got to go see Toria on the Colton's farm, maybe. Singing to sleep with the bagpipes again. Foraging for ingredients. She can teach us how to brew a simple potion with help us understand brewing. Oh man, how do we put all of these things? All right, so some people have said go to Toria. Some people have said go to the carpenter. Some people have said use your primeval awareness. Some people have said stay here and learn how to brew a simple potion from Edith, which would take the rest of the day for sure. Is there anything else? I wonder if Jack's mead had some rejuvenating qualities. Interesting theory, Wraith. Franklin wanted us to meet Sally. We should go check on Toria and Gretchen both before going back to the farm. Leave Mel. No. We're leaving Mel at the farm. She's recovering from a lingering injury at the moment. She has 1 more day of rest needed to recover from her injury. I can't think of any other options, so I'll just put those ones in a poll for now. What now? Question mark. If we learn from Edith, is it easier to learn? Yes, it is, Spate. So in my training rules, if you learn from someone who is specifically a teacher, someone who's a professional at teaching, then that's in a solo lesson, that's as good as you can get. Learning from a professional in a solo lesson, that's the best chance you've got of learning. If you learn from a professional who has got divided attention, because maybe they're teaching you on the side while they're doing something else, or maybe they're teaching an entire class so they can't focus on you individually, that's the second best option. The third best option is to learn from an amateur, somebody who knows the thing but hasn't trained in how to teach it and is just happening to teach you. So like learning Elvish from an Elvish teacher is one thing. Learning Elvish from someone who just happens to speak Elvish is another thing, because not everybody is a good teacher. So learning from an amateur teacher in a solo lesson, that's the third best option you've got. She would fall under that category. Learning from an amateur with divided attention, that's the next best thing. Learning in a solo fashion, so nobody's teaching you, but you're learning from a source like a book. That's like the fifth best option you've got for learning. And then like self-taught with no guidance at all, that's the worst option that you've got, but it's something that you can do with certain things. Like you can just learn from experience. Like if you're trying to learn how to use a club and you're not proficient in clubs, then you can just wield a club for a bit and teach yourself how to do it. It's not going to be as proficient as learning from a book or learning from a person. She's hanging out with the bees. Yeah, she's fine. She's back on the farm she came from. She's hanging out with the bees. She's having a restful day. She'll hopefully be good for tomorrow. Hopefully be good for tomorrow. She's got one more rest day needed, but in order for this day to count as a day of rest, she needs to succeed on a medicine check tomorrow morning. We're not that likely to use other spells before bedtime, Sparrow thinks. So I'm okay with using a spell slot to check things. We can come back tomorrow for a lesson. Mel needs to rest. Still needs to rest tomorrow. She might need to rest tomorrow if she fails the medicine check. The average passage of time, does it generally mean to learn a language or potions, etc., is likely to take a year of Twitch Tales? In game, a year? No. If you put like every day into it, if you properly like put full-time training into it with somebody who can teach it, you could probably learn it in a couple of weeks at most. If you're learning in your downtime, it'll probably take a month or two. I don't know. Depends how often you train in it. All right, so with 50% of the vote, Apis wants to go to the Coltons or Toria to let them know what's happening. With 29% of the vote, people want to stay and ask to learn about potions from Edith directly. And with 21% of the vote, people want to use primeval awareness. And with 0% of the vote, nobody wants to go to the carpenter. So Apis decides there's a lot of things that they could do right now, but what they'll do first, while the light is out, while it's still early afternoon, they're going to go over to the other farm nearby that's only about 40 minutes walk away, and meet with Toria and fill her in with what's happening and what's been going on for them. And so Apis does so. Apis leaves Edith's place. Thank you very much, Edith. It's been lovely seeing you. You take care of yourself and make sure to not overwork yourself. Make sure to eat right. You got to get that strength up. I'm going to roll a perception check on Apis's behalf as we walk through the village. $11. All right. So Apis walks through the village, not seeing it, and leaves the town towards the Colton's farm. And that's where we'll leave it for tonight, and I will pick up here next week. Thank you very much for joining me.